All right, and good morning, everyone. I am Jon Williams. I am the owner of Infinite Social Solutions, and welcome to Brew. This week, I'm going to be talking about SEO basics and what SEO is and why SEO is important. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, what is SEO? SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. It's the process of improving your website so it ranks higher on search engines like Google. Why does that matter? Well, simply put, the higher your website ranks, the more traffic you get without paying ads, right? So, perfect example, go on Google, you're searching for perfume, right? That's an example I'm going to use throughout this live stream. So you go on Google, searching for perfume, and first batch of results that come up, you see those results because they have a better SEO score, meaning they're keyword optimized. And don't fret, I'll go through all that, everything I'm explaining to you. We're going to go over during the presentation, but they are keyword optimized. So whenever you type in perfume, the first 10 websites or whatever, they're all ranked in order. So the first website you see, that's the ranked number one, that has the highest SEO score, so on and so forth, until it goes all the way down. Normally, we don't go past page 2 of search results, but trust me, there are great websites beyond page 2 of the search results. However, again, they're all ranked in order by how great a job of SEO or site engine optimization there is on that site. So there are 3 types of SEO. There's technical SEO, is how your site is built, and that is how fast your site loads, whether you're using proper HTML tags like for your headings and things of that nature. The second type of SEO is on-page SEO. It's the actual content on your site. That's your images, your video, your text, all that type of stuff. Number 3 is off-page SEO, and that is what others say about your site, like backlinks. That's a simple one. Basically, is your site linked from other sites? Like if you go to like someone else's blog, did they link your website on their blog? So the more sites that your website link is on, the better your off-page SEO. Even when you're using social media, Google has bots that actually scours the internet looking for and compiling this data to see where your site, the link for your site is at. So the more you post it on social media, the more people share it on their pages, the more people put it on their website, the better off-page SEO you'll have. So technical SEO basics. So we're going to go over this real quick. So let's start with technical SEO. Ask yourself, is my site fast? Is it mobile friendly? Can people view your website easily and quickly on a mobile device? Is it secure? Does it have HTTPS, right? You go to a website that does not have HTTPS, and you'll see it in the URL. It just says HTTP. That site is not secure. It's not encrypted. So if you ever go to a website where you're asked to give information, especially your financial information, like your credit card number or something like that, if that site does not show HTTPS in the URL, that site is not secure. So that means your information is not secure. So there's a pretty good chance that your information can be stolen from that website. So keep that in mind. The next one is, can Google crawl and index my pages? So something that people don't really know too much about is that Google basically has bots that scour the internet. So with these bots, part of what these bots do is they go to each website, and the bot basically tries to go to your website, and then go to each web page and pull the information from your website, right? If the bot can't do that, it's no way that it could actually rank your website in the search engine, right? You could pay for all the SEO in the world, right? But if Google cannot index your web pages, it cannot rank your web pages because it can't not pull that information. So that's why that's important. If you have a website, whoever your web developer is, or whoever's handling the back end of your website, make sure that Google can index your pages, and I will show you where you can find that information. So give me a second here, pull up this window, and good morning to everyone who is currently watching. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to show you the Google search console. Okay, so Google has a great tool. This is the Google Search Console. So what it allows you to do is it allows you to basically track the performance of your website on the internet using this service through Google. And I'm gonna toss this in the chat real quick. And this is completely free. So and again, it shows your website's performance on the internet. So this is my business website here, my infinitesocialsolutions.com, right? So just to go over what we are looking at right here. So this is performance on search results. So this is the page, this is the part that I use most frequently because it allows you, it tells you how many times a link was clicked, tells you how many impressions. Impressions are how many times your website showed up in a search. So you're like not just your website, but web pages on your site showed up in a search. So your average CTR, which is average click-through rate. So click-through is when someone goes to a page that has a link to your website. Do they actually click the link? Average position. So when they do search for, when they do a search using Google, my website, my average position on my website, based on all the websites that are optimized with specific keywords, my web pages average 52, ranking like in 52nd place, basically, right? So out of all the search results that come up, my web pages average 52.4. So you'll probably find my website probably on the 4th or 5th page of a Google search. So, which is not bad. And I'll go over why it's not bad. And that's because that my website is a local website, so I'm not really trying to reach a wide audience, but I'll go over that. So here's a nice little chart. We can go from 24 hours, 7 days, or for the last week, you know, the average kind of went up, 199 total impressions, 28 days, 3 months, so on and so forth. So you can change the date range and things like that to get an idea of the kind of traffic that you're getting in Google search engine, Google search. See what things you may need to improve on, and things of that nature. So when you come down here, scroll a little bit, so these are the top queries, right? So this actually shows you what people were searching for on Google and how your website, web pages ended up in the search result. Now, this is a great tool to have because this actually gives you the keywords that people are using. So people were searching for how to be a great coder, 268 impressions, right? Click on that. So those were the actual queries that people were using. And that brought them to my webpage on so you want to be a coder, you need these skills, right? So it brought them to, or this specific page showed up in the search results. So that's good information to know, because now you know that this web page is coming up in the results. You may want to post it a little bit more on the social media, so on and so forth. Same thing with the next top query, which was narrow AI. So that blog post of mine is showing up in search queries as well too. And here are all the other keywords that people have been using. Yep. So that is the Google Search Console. That was just a real quick walkthrough of that. You can look at the overview, shows your performance, total clicks. These are total click links, so on and so forth. Top pages, indexing, which I told you, your website, your pages need to be able to be indexed by Google search in order to even get ranked on Google search. So that is the Google Search Console. I put the link in the chat, so if you can check that out, you can. If you have any questions, you can always drop a question in the chat. All right, so off-page SEO basics. So off-page SEO is all about trust and authority. The most important factor here, backlinks. When other sites link to, that's when other sites link to you, okay? So tips: create high-value content people want to share. Guest posts. So guest post is basically if you have another website that has a blog, you can write a guest blog on their website, and in your blog post on their website, you will link to your website, right? So that's how people can. That's how you guest post. You write a blog for someone else. You drop your link and contact information into that blog post. So when people go to, your friend's blog to read your blog post, they can find out where you where your content is, and they can click on that link and go to your content. So that's how that works. Get listed in local directories. Google has their business profiles that you can create. So that's how you would take care of that. So let's go back to backlinks, right? So create high value content people want to share. So basically, if you have a blog, right, and if you have great content, if you have great blog content, right, you get organic growth from that. Meaning your content is so great that, you post this blog post, everybody loves what you're posting. You get 50 shares that day. That helps with that off-page SEO, because what you end up doing is you're sharing from your Facebook page, from your Twitter, so on and so forth, right? Or X, so on and so forth. So those 50 shares of your blog post are now on 50 other social media pages, 50 other people's social media pages, right? So now you've grown your audience outside of your personal audience, right? So your audience saw your blog post on that blog. 50 people in your audience just shared it to their audience. So you've just reached a higher viewing now, right? Now, the more consistent you are with that, the more successful you are with that. Again, Google's bots are going to see that this particular link for this blog post is showing up all over the internet, showing up on social media sites, showing up on other people's websites. And that's how you grow your ranking using off-page SEO. The other thing too is getting listed in local directories. Local directories are great because if someone is searching for, like, if someone is searching for my business, right? I offer IT services, and they search IT services in Baltimore, right? I have a higher chance of coming up because I have my business listed on Google. So Google will actually show my business. And I don't know if you ever search for businesses on Google, but what happens is Google gives you a map. So you want to make sure that if you have a local business, that you have a address so that Google can actually pin your business on their map, which is you have greater chance of visibility and people being able to find you and you showing up in those Google searches. So that's off-page SEO in a nutshell. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the link. Good morning, Ms. Gordon. You said when you ran your Shopify store, this would have been very helpful. Yes. So this, and the reason why I'm doing this presentation is because a lot of people don't know or aren't too familiar with SEO. And yes, if you want to reach a wider audience, especially if you want to reach like a national audience, not so much a local. Local doesn't require too much SEO, but if you want to, if you have a product that you can ship nationwide or worldwide, SEO is very important because once you start reaching out to that audience outside of your city or state, then you really need to be able to separate yourself from the pack because it's very crowded. We're talking millions and millions of people, hundreds of thousands of websites that probably sell same thing or something similar to what you sell. So this is one way that you can set yourself apart from that, and it helps. However, it takes some time. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. SEO really, the reason why it's expensive, the services are expensive, is because it takes time. You're not going to get immediate results. On average, for you to even start seeing, if you are consistent with some of the things that I just talked about, if you're consistent with it, you won't really start seeing results maybe until 8-9 months in. On average, it takes a year for you to actually start seeing results. However, once you get those results, you got to keep it going. You know, you can't just say, "Oh, I made it to rank 20, I'm gonna stop." No, you don't want to do that because your competitors are also have the same mindset. They want to be number one or they want to make the front page. So they're gonna do whatever they can do, throw whatever money they can with their SEO to make that front page because it's very important. So hopefully that helps. So next we're going to talk about keyword research. How do you know what to optimize for? So keyword research. So use tools like Google Keyword Planner, Uber Suggest, or Answer the Public. Look for terms with decent volume, low to medium competition, and align them with your audience's intent. All right, so what does that mean? So when you do a Google search, right? And actually, we're going to do an example here, right? So all right. Anyway, so we're going to do a Google search here. So we're going to do one for perfume, right? So any words that you use in a search, those are your keywords. Those are the words that you are giving to Google, and you're telling Google, hey, these are the words that I'm giving you. Find things that match these words. All right. Google doesn't know what perfume is. It just knows the word perfume. Okay. However, it's able to filter through your keywords, right? So we just looked up perfume, right? So we get a whole bunch of stuff, right? So in our search results, however, the first thing that comes up is perfume.com. All right. Having a URL that is the exact item of what people search for is basically it's a godsend, right, for this company. So I'm pretty sure their URL perfume.com is worth probably I would say, if not $1 million, a couple $100,000, just simply because if you type in perfume, their website is almost automatically going to come up, right? But then you have another company next to them, their number 2 ranked website here in our search results, Sephora, right? Sephora, what is Sephora? That's the name of the company, but what is it, right? So they have to be able, they use SEO, they use these keywords, and for instance, first thing that comes up is perfume and perfume for women, okay? And we're going to test something here. So let's do perfume for women, right? See if we get anything different. So now we have totally different websites, right? So this has women's perfume and fragrances. This is Perfume Mania, perfumes for women and fragrances, so on and so forth. So Sephora is gone. Perfume.com is gone, right? Because these particular sites, oh, actually we got Sephora down here. They have fragrances for women, but they don't have perfume for women. So you actually see in real time how these keywords are important. So when it comes to keyword research, you're looking for words that not only are commonly searched, right, but you're also looking for unique words. So these words like perfume is very common. But when you attach it to perfume for women, then you kind of narrow it down, right? You're narrowing down that search. So let's do perfume for women in America, right? Because we're only looking for, maybe looking for brands that are only in America, right? So we got Sephora. We have a website, Perfumes de Marley, USA. So these websites are optimized for people who are looking for perfumes in America. But let's say I want to do Canada, right? So the websites that we're going to get, they are optimized. They have keywords on their website for Canada. So we got, again, perfumeonline.ca. .ca is the Canadian, like .com. .ca is for Canada. So and we do have websites that are specific to perfumes in Canada. Now, I want you to take a look at Sephora, right? Sephora came up number 1 because this came up number 1 because in the background, behind the scenes, Sephora knows that people do search or have searched for perfume websites in Canada. So what you can't see is when we go to this webpage, their SEO in the background actually has keywords Canada, but you'll never see it on the page itself. But in their SEO, however they do it for their website, they have Canada on it, right? Let's do see if they come up if we do Mexico. Or no, so they don't. So what they can do is actually they can add the keyword Mexico to their website, and they would show up in search results if someone just did a search for perfume for women in Mexico. But you see how that works, how we went from perfume, and the more keywords we added, perfume for women in America, we got totally different results. Sometimes we got the same website on the first page, but ranked differently. That's because of SEO. That's basically because of the keywords that are used on and throughout the website, right? So there are a couple of sites that you can use to find or do keyword research. One is Google Keyword Planner. Be wary if you use that Google Keyword Planner, because they do. It's basically you create an ad campaign. So at some point, like, you create an ad campaign, you don't have to pay for it, but you have to go through all the steps of creating an actual ad before Google will allow you to do keyword research and find keywords that are specific to your business, or the keywords that are used the most when searching for businesses like yours on the internet. So be very wary of that. So next up is local SEO. This matters if you have a business. Okay, if you have a business and it's a local business, then there's local SEO. All right, if you have a local business, local SEO is huge. First thing, claim your Google business profile. I talked about that a few minutes ago. Very important. Very important that if you have a business in your area, use or utilize, create, activate your Google business profile. 9 times out of 10, no, if you don't have one, people are not going to find you. Even if you don't have a website yet. Even if you don't have a website, Google business profile, basically it's your business. You put your business information in there, address, you can put a description. Your description should have your keywords that people search for your business, but create one even if you do not have a website. Website is not necessary when it comes to your Google business profile, because you will come up. Because if I'm searching for instance, example, I'm searching for computer repair, and it's commonly put near me, right? These are all the places that come up. All of these places come up outside of the sponsored ads, but all of these places come up because these companies actually have a Google business profile. So even if you don't have a website, at the very least, and look, this is where I'm at right now. Map Technologies, we're on the list. We're on the list because we're in the local area. So even if you don't have a website, a couple of these businesses do not have websites. However, they do have a Google business profile. So when you go to search for places near you, when someone goes to search for places near them, for businesses near them, you're still going to, one way or another, show up on Google's website. Now, those are the businesses near me. Now, when it actually comes to the website rankings, that's completely different, right? See, this is pretty much all over the place, right? A couple of places that show up here don't necessarily show up in the businesses list that we have here. But local SEO is really important. Like the biggest thing is the Google business profile, even if you do not have a website. Make sure that on your profile that your name, address, and phone number are in that profile. Make sure that you get reviews, because reviews actually help, especially when you use websites like Yelp and things like that. Always ask for reviews, and then use location-based keywords. So if you're going to, in your description, the description for your business, the keywords that you use, location-based, should be at the very least. So we're in Baltimore, right? So at the very least, somewhere in your business description, you need to put Baltimore in that description, right? Now you can get more specific with it. You can put East Baltimore, West Baltimore, North Baltimore, South Baltimore, however you want. But Baltimore, because you live in Baltimore, you need to put Baltimore in there. That helps with the SEO, helps a lot. Even putting the address in there, because the address, Google uses that. You know, they have Google Maps. They can show you on Google Maps, put a pin there to let people know exactly where you are, exactly what your location is. So this is very important. Now, when it comes to a website for local SEO, it's important, but not as important. Okay? It's important, but not as important. Because what it really boils down to is, who is your target audience? Who are you trying to reach? Are you trying to stay local, or are you trying to reach a national audience, right? Depends on who you're trying to reach and who your audience is. I'm not going to optimize my website to try to reach people over in China when all I do is repair computers here in Baltimore. Like, I'm not going to put that money and time and invest that into trying to reach people in China. That just doesn't make sense. That's not smart business, not smart financials. However, if I'm local, then everything I do should be localized. Address, business profile, local keywords like Baltimore, Inner Harbor, downtown Baltimore, things like that. Those are keywords that should show up on the things that I post, and so on and so forth. So, again, who's your audience? Is it local or are you national? All right, very important, because you don't want to spend thousands of dollars on SEO when you're only trying to reach like customers in a 10-mile radius. Like, that just doesn't make sense. You're gonna spend $10,000 just to not get that back in return, right? So something to be aware about and to keep in mind. So, how do you measure your success with SEO? All right. So, how do you know SEO is working? So you track it, right? So your traffic in Google Analytics, rankings with tools like Ahrefs and SEMrush, and conversions. Are people doing what you want them to do? Okay. So traffic and Google Analytics. So there is a way for you to connect your website to all the Google Analytics services. And the one that I just showed you was the Google Search Console. So this doesn't happen automatically. You actually have to go into the back end of your website and add a URL to your website that allows Google Search Console permission to track your website. Okay, so I have my website and a few of my clients' websites that I track, but you have to allow Google the permission. You don't just put your website up and Google starts looking for it. The way it's set up now, you have to tell Google, like, hey, give it permission, like, hey, this is my website, send your bots here, come look at it, right? That's the only way you're going to get all of this information. Yeah. So also, what was mentioned as well too, went too far. Conversions. Are people doing what you want them to do? So basically, are people sharing your posts? Are people commenting on your post? Are people leaving reviews on Yelp? Leaving reviews on your Google business profile? Leaving reviews on your website, right? If no one is doing that, then you really need to start asking people to do that, because that helps with your SEO. Rankings tools, if you're local, you'll know. If your website shows up, or if your business shows up in a local search, then you're fine. You don't have to do anything extra, right? Unless it's just not showing up at all. So these are the three main ways to track to see if SEO is working. I will, before I head out of here, I will say that SEO can be expensive, but it's all about that ROI, that return on investment. Is the money that you're putting in to SEO, are you profiting from that? Meaning, if you spend $5,000 optimizing your website, at the end of the year, have you made that back plus more? Because if the answer is no, right, then you wasted your money. Chances are you probably didn't do the things that you were supposed to do, or maybe you spent too much money. Maybe, again, your local business. I don't see how spending $5,000 to reach an audience in a 10-mile radius in a search engine is going to help you any more outside of just creating a Google business profile and adding local keywords. Now, if you're trying to reach a national audience, then yes, that $5,000 is an investment. However, make sure that you're spending that money well and that you're getting a return on investment. Because if you're not getting ROI, then you've just wasted your time and your money. And a lot of my clients, when I talk to them about this, I emphasize always, like, this isn't something that's going to happen overnight. You're not going to move up in those rankings in a week. You're not going to move up in a month. 3 months, maybe. I've seen that before. But to even see any significant growth with SEO is going to take up to a year. And then even after that year, you don't stop. So you got to keep doing it. You got to keep pushing if you want to move up in the ranking. So it's not something that you throw money at one time and expect results. It takes a lot of work, a lot of effort. Not only is it going to take effort from the person that you hired to do your SEO, but it's also going to take effort from you as a business owner to make sure that you're doing the things to help your rankings in the Google search or other search engines, right? So thank you for those who hung out with me this morning. I will be doing this every Wednesday, starting at 9 a.m. And usually, I know it's scheduled from 9 to 11, but the presentation will usually, give or take, be about half hour, 45 minutes. I leave myself that extra time after if people have questions or there's something that, if the audience has questions, leaves me enough time to go over and probably go more in depth into the questions that they have. So until next Wednesday, hope you have a great hump day. Try to have